Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the Striped Suzette Baby Blanket. This baby blanket measures 29 inches across by 35 inches long and is made using 3 different colors. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to change colors, and you're going to learn how to make this beautiful stitch. I really liked using this yarn as it is a cotton blend yarn, which is perfect for the summertime as it's not too heavy and it provides a lot of nice draping. And then I just added a simple single crochet border to this blanket. So let's get started on today's tutorial making the Striped Suzette Baby Blanket. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need 2 skeins of 3 different colors, and the yarn that I'm using today is called Bernat Softy Baby Cotton, and you can find this at Joann Fabrics. You can also find this on the Yarnspirations website, and I believe you could buy this at Michael's as well. And this is 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. It is a 4.2 ounce or 120 gram skein. It's 254 yards or 232 meters. And this has been tested for any harmful substances, which is always nice. This yarn is machine washable and dryable, which is also really nice for people who have delicate skin or if you plan on giving this away as a gift. This is a number 3 lightweight yarn, and the recommended hook size is a US G6 or 4mm crochet hook. So you're going to need 2 skeins of cotton. You're going to need 2 skeins of soft plum, and finally 2 skeins of Aqua Mist. Now if you want to use a different color or different colors, you can certainly do that. You can also make this in one solid color as well. So it's really up to you what colors you want to choose. And then I'm going to be bumping up my crochet hook to a size H8 5mm crochet hook. So let's get started with today's tutorial. Okay, so you're going to start off with the cream yarn, and you're going to go ahead and make a slip knot. And for my baby blanket, I ended up making 110 chains. You can make whatever chain size that you would like, as long as you have an even number of chains. So you can make this bigger or smaller depending on your preference. So again, for my baby blanket, I made 110 chains. And for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and make a chain of 16. So to make a chain, you're going to do yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have a total of 110 chains or your desired width. Okay, once you have your desired width or your 110 chains, we can begin row 1. For row 1, you're going to start in the second chain from the hook, and you're going to make 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet into that same stitch. So that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 2 chains from your hook. So 1 and 2. And in that second chain, you're going to go ahead and insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that is your single crochet. Now you're going to make 1 double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over your hook, go back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that creates your double crochet. Now in that very first single crochet stitch that you made, if you have trouble lining up your ends, I highly recommend putting a stitch marker right here where your single crochet stitch is. Next, you're going to skip the next chain, and in the chain after that, you're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet. So you can see where you just worked in that first chain right here, you're going to skip that next chain, and in the chain after that, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So skip that next chain, and in the chain after that, make a single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, then you're going to make a double crochet, yarn over your hook, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is going to be the start of your repeat. So again, you're just going to skip the next chain, and in the chain after that, you're going to make 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet. So skip that next chain, and in the chain after that, you're going to make 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet. And you're going to repeat this all the way across until you have 2 chains remaining. So again, skip that next chain, and in the chain after that, make a single crochet and a double crochet. So keep repeating that all the way across. When you have 2 chains remaining, I will show you how to finish off the first row and move on to row 2. Okay, so I have 2 chains remaining. So what you're going to do is you're going to skip 1 chain, and in that very last chain, you're going to go ahead and make a single crochet. So this is what your work looks like so far. So you're going to have those little clusters of single crochet and the double crochet. Okay, so to move on to row 2, you're going to go ahead and make a chain 1. And before I do that, again, if you need some help keeping your ends straight, I highly recommend getting a stitch marker and putting it in this very last single crochet stitch. And as you make more rows, you can always move up your stitch marker for each row. And that should help keep your ends nice and straight. So again, chain 1 and turn. And then for row 2, you're going to go ahead and make a single crochet and a double crochet into that very first stitch. So you're going to skip that chain 1 that we just made, and right here in this very first stitch, which is that single crochet from the previous row, you're going to go ahead and insert your hook and make a single crochet. Now when you insert your hook, if you turn your work a little bit, you're going to see 2 loops, and that's going to be for your whole stitch. So you see that little V right here. You want to make sure that you insert your hook underneath both of those loops. So again, you're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet into that very first single crochet from the previous row. Okay, now to start our repeat, you're going to go ahead and skip the next stitch, and this is going to be your double crochet from the previous row, and then you're going to work a single crochet and a double crochet into the next stitch. And that next stitch is going to be the single crochet from the previous row. So you're going to skip that stitch right here, which is your double crochet, and your stitch right here is going to be your single crochet. So you're going to be working in the single crochets of each stitch across. So skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and a double crochet. And then you're going to repeat this across. So skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and a double crochet. Skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that, make a single crochet and a double crochet. And that's pretty much it for the pattern. You're just going to repeat row 2 over and over again for the entire pattern. And for my blanket, I ended up making 10 rows of each color before I change colors. So you can change up the color sequence if you want, but I made my blanket using 10 rows of cotton, 10 rows of soft plum, and 10 rows of Aqua Mist before going back to the cotton and repeating that sequence. Okay, so when you get to the end of row 2, you're going to skip that next stitch, which is a double crochet, and in that marked stitch, which is going to be your single crochet, you're going to insert your hook into that single crochet, and you're going to make 1 single crochet to end row 2. And so this is what your work is going to look like, and you can see a little bit that the stitches are going to be on the side of one another. So you have your first single and double crochet cluster here, and then for your second row it's going to be just to the side of it. So your work is going to be slightly on a diagonal from one another. Okay, so if you look at the baby blanket again, like I said, I made 10 rows of each color, and I started with the cotton, I went to the soft plum, and then I went to Aqua Mist before repeating it again, and I did 10 rows of each color. So I had 4 sections where I did the repeat, and then at the very end I made my blankets with 10 rows of cotton, just so each of the ends of the blanket matched, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to change colors, and then that way you can figure out your own color sequence, and then I will go ahead and show you how to make the border. Okay, so say you made 10 rows of your first color, and you're going to be changing your color to the next color, which is going to be that soft plum color. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a single crochet in that very last stitch, but instead of yarning over and pulling through with that cotton color, you're going to drop that cotton color, and you are going to cut your yarn, but for the purposes of this tutorial I am not. So you're going to cut your yarn, leaving about this much for a tail, maybe about 2 inches or so, maybe a little bit more. You're going to lay the new color right over your crochet hook, and again you want to leave a little bit of a tail so that way you can weave in your ends later. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through with that new color, and then you're just going to get both ends, and you're just going to tighten up your stitch a little bit. And then you're just going to continue with the pattern. So again, chain 1 and turn. In that very first stitch, you're going to go ahead and chain, you're going to single crochet and double crochet. Skip that next stitch, and in the stitch after that you're going to single crochet and double crochet. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern across, again making 10 rows of this plum color. And then my blanket ended up being 130 rows. So that way if you want to change up the colors, you can certainly do that. Again, if you want to make it a solid color, you can do that as well. But my blanket ended up being 130 rows long. Okay, so continue making your blanket, and once you get to the very end, I will show you how to make the border. So keep repeating row 2 for the pattern, again making 10 rows of each color before changing colors, and once you get to the very end, you should have 10 rows of that cotton color so that your blanket matches. And all this information is going to be on my website or on Etsy if you want to purchase the PDF version of this pattern. But if you would like the free pattern, you can visit the link in the description box below, and you can visit my website for the free version of this pattern. And that way you can get all the information in a written pattern form. So I'm going to go ahead and work my little swatch a little bit, and once I reach the end, I will show you how to make the border. So this is what your blanket is going to look like, especially if you decided you wanted to do 2 rows of each color instead of 10. And again, it's a very soft yarn to work with. It has a lot of drape to it as well, which makes it super nice for the summertime. And then you can see your stitches are off to the side of one another, like I said earlier. So to start the border, you're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn with that cream color. And I just made a simple single crochet border. I know I make this for a lot of my blankets, but I really like how it just ends the blanket and makes your blanket look super nice and neat without taking away from the overall texture or the pattern of the blanket. If you want to make a different border, definitely feel free, but I'm just going to go ahead and make my signature single crochet border. So you're just going to go right in that very first stitch, and you're just going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch across the top of your blanket. And again, if you wanted to make a different border, feel free. So I'm just going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch across. And then when you get to the corners, you're going to make 3 single crochets in each of the corners. Okay, so I have 1 more stitch, and then for your corner, you're going to make 3 single crochets in that corner, so that way it helps round out the corner a little bit more. And then when you're working along the side of your blanket, you want to make sure that your stitches are as even as possible. So you just want to kind of guess where you would put your stitches at, and just try and make everything even. So you should have at least 1 single crochet per row, and you just want to go in the end stitches right here. And like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, but I try and do 1 single crochet per row end stitch. And then again, when you're coming up to that corner, you're going to go ahead and in that corner space, make 3 single crochets. Okay, so then when you are working along the bottom of your blanket, I like to go right underneath that entire chain into that space. If you want to go into that chain instead, feel free. But I'm just going to be working in the spaces underneath the chain and making one single crochet across. So continue making one single crochet around your entire blanket, making 3 single crochets in your corners, and when you get to that last corner, I will show you how to end your blanket and weave in your ends. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of my blanket, and when we started out the blanket, you had that one single crochet in the corner. So to finish, you're going to add 2 more single crochets to that corner. You're going to find that very first single crochet stitch, and you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops for a slip stitch. And then you're going to go ahead and cut your yarn. So I like to leave a little bit of a tail to weave in my ends. And then I simply yarn over and pull through and tighten. Now with your tapestry needle, you're going to go ahead and insert your yarn, and you're going to weave in your ends. So for this particular blanket, you're going to make sure that you keep the yarn tails with that same color yarn. So you're going to keep all the cotton color together, the Aqua Mist color, as well as the soft plum, and that way it just hides your ends a little bit more. And to weave in your ends, you're just going to go in between your stitches a few times just to make sure it's nice and secure. And I like to go back and forth a few times just to doubly make sure that everything is nice and secure. And you will do the same process for all your yarn ends. Okay, and then one more time, I like to go back in one more direction. And that way I feel like it's nice and secure. Okay, and then once you have that, you can cut off the remaining tail, and that is your blanket. So let me again show you what the finished blanket looks like. And that is the Striped Suzette Baby Blanket. A very simple stitch. One of my favorites, provides a lot of nice, beautiful texture. And with that single crochet border, it makes the blanket nice and neat and finished. You can use whatever colors you would like to fit your baby nursery or friend's baby nursery. And if you want to make this into a bigger lap size blanket or a throw blanket, all you would need to do is change up the chain at the beginning, so it would be any chain that is an even number. So thank you so much for joining me today on making the Striped Suzette Baby Blanket. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!